Okay, welcome back. Okay, so the last video, uh, I talked about the rigging, or at least in terms of dead eyes. I'll go over that in a minute, what I've done and the progress I've made. But I wanted to talk about string. Now, the previous kits I've built, um, I'm drawing a blank on the names already. Anyway, the previous kits I built, I used just standard thread, standard sewing thread, quilting threads, things like that. And that works fine, especially for that scale. I think the Bounty is one 10 scale. Um, I believe the Victory is 1/200 scale roughly. I don't remember now. Anyway, in those scales, standard sewing threads work fine. Again, sewing threads, quilting threads, knitting threads. Um, this is a much bigger scale ship, Black Pearl. And a lot of people swear by this waxed thread. You can buy it specifically for this hobby, and that's great. Uh, but for me, that doesn't work, and I'm going to let you in on a secret here. um, I'm not so old-fashioned that I don't like shopping online. I am older, but I'm not old-fashioned enough to say, geez, I don't like the internet. Hell, I play games and I edit and I put videos up. Um, but I am one of those that I like having it in my hands. I like walking into a store and buying it because 90% of what I purchase online is usually the wrong item. Either by my fault because I didn't know what I was ordering, or by the fault of the seller for sending me the wrong item. That happens a lot. And then you got to go through the process of returning it, and it's a pain in the butt, assuming the seller will even take it back. And if they do, you're probably on the hook for the shipping cost, which isn't right. So I like finding alternatives at my local stores. Um, Hobby Lobby is a good choice because they have all kinds of different hobbies. Um, Not just model kits. So if you need something, you can go to another section to look at a hobby. In my case, the model selection is very, very poor at my Hobby Lobby. And their accessories and tools and such are even worse. However, you can buy waxed thread over in the leather crafts department. So I did. I picked up a few to choose from. I have this nice black waxed thread. It's 1 millimeter, and I think for this scale, that's going to be almost perfect. I haven't tested it yet, so that's what we're going to do in this video, is we're going to test that. I also just today picked up this. It's a tan. It's supposed to be 1 millimeter. Now, I'm a little confused by a lot of the measurements on these. This is 1 millimeter. This is sold as 1 millimeter. This is not wax thread. It's just a roped type thread. Let me turn my lights on real quick. Okay, I think that's a little better. So this is sold as 1 millimeter, and you can kind of see that. This is also sold as 1 millimeter, and that is a much thicker braid, much thicker string. I like this thicker string for things like the anchor rope, but for rigging, it's just a little too thick, I think, for this scale. But I do like this thread, so I'm going to hold on to that. Then I picked up this. It's quilting thread, crochet thread, sorry, and it's a nice thickness, and when it's stretched a bit, it's a little thinner. But this thread has a habit of being sort of hairy. And I know there are ways you can eliminate the hairs by singeing them quickly with a flame, or even using beeswax. Now, I don't know how to wax my own thread, but I did buy it to give it a try. I haven't done that yet. And I'm not sure I'm going to, since I found these two. So we got a few different things to choose from here, but I think I'm going to go with these two. So we have the black 1 millimeter and the sort of beige tan 1 millimeter. I'm going to open this one up because I want to compare the thickness of the threads here, because while they're the same brand and the same manufacturer, I question the measurement. You know, the way that some of these are sort of measured out. Um, so we will see. Let's open it up and find out here. Okay, so it's open. I think the end of the thread is right here. Now that looks very, very similar. So I think they're both definitely close to that 1mm scale. So we're gonna run a few rat lines, a few shrouds, and kind of see what we think of these two threads. And we'll go from there. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the dead eyes. Now I finished them all up. What happened in the last video is I explained I did not like the way that they were mounted originally. Let me bring the camera up so we can see that. Okay, so I did explain in the last video. I did not like the gold metal that I was using. I did not like the way it was mounted underneath. I think they call those the chain plates. It was just done so haphazardly. I was just trying to get it done, honestly. I'll put up some pictures so we can see both ways. But basically, one way was the gold metal that was basically run and sort of pierced the hull. I did not like that. It didn't work for me. I did it and I said, okay, this will be quicker and easier. Sometimes quicker and easier is not the way to go. So I instead decided to pull off all of the dead eyes, all of the chain plates, and everything, remount them with a slightly darker metal, and using chains instead. And again, I'll put up pictures so we can see the differences. And I am extremely pleased with that result, with that effort. I wasn't going to do it. It was a lot of work. I'm glad I did it, honestly. So yeah, I just wanted to explain that. I think we'll go ahead. We'll run a few shrouds with this thread that we picked up, and we will be back. Okay. So I did a little bit of testing, and it turns out the 1mm wax thread that I bought. Now I do like this stuff, so I'm going to hold on to it, or I'll send it to my brother-in-law, who is also going to be doing this kit soon. I'm also going to be making more dead eyes for him, so I might solve the problem for him, so he'll be able to use what I think is a more appropriate thread. 1mm is too big, too thick. It does not fit through the holes that I put in all the dead eyes. Now, I made these dead eyes. Now, that's my fault. I should have picked a thread long before I chose to make the dead eyes, and then I would have had the proper size holes. Bring the camera up so we can see the dead eyes here. Okay. All right. There's some, anyway. But the string does not fit through those holes. Now, what I could do is I could take them all off again and re-drill the holes. I'm not going to do that. I could try drilling the holes while they're mounted, but I just don't know. I'm almost feeling like 1mm is a little too big to begin with for that particular part of the shroud. Bring the camera back out. Okay. So now when we run the rat lines, the shroud from the dead eyes up to the mast, 1mm is really good. I like that, and we're gonna use that. I think that's fine. But in terms of the thread that will tie the rat line or this dead eye to the dead eye on top, I think 1mm might be a little too large anyway. I'll put a picture up so I can show you what I'm saying. I do have regular sewing thread, which I do like. I've used this many times. I feel like that might be a slightly better pick. So I have to make a choice. Do I re-drill the holes and use the 1mm, or do I leave the holes the way they are and I use sewing thread, which again I'm not against. I have other thread. Um, I have specific for this purpose. I have a much lighter thread. I just feel like this would be much too light. And then I have some browner thread. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But right now I'm leaning towards using the sewing thread rather than drilling out all those holes again. If I drill one, I've got to drill them all at that point, and that's the problem. So I don't want to drill one, realize it's a mistake, and then have to either replace that one, which would be a pain at this point, or drill them all out. It just, I'm not happy with that decision. So I don't know. I think that's too light. I feel like that might be my best choice, though it is a little bit thinner. We'll do a test and we'll see what we got. Just a lot of choices to make. Keeping in mind that if this were a better kit, a slightly more expensive kit, then this wouldn't even be a concern. It would come with the proper dead eyes. It would come with the proper, it should come with thread. The problem is that this kit, while it came with some thread, it came with some really bad thread. And it was all knotted up and rat lined, and it was just really, really bad. So I'm not using what this came with, obviously. So I'm trying to find some alternatives, locally especially, because again, I just don't want to order this online. I don't know what sizes to go with. I don't know, and I like having it in my hand. So I think we're zeroing in on some sizes, but now we got to pick colors and go from there. So we'll do a test. We'll be back. Okay. So here we are. We have the first shroud line up. Dead eyes connected. I think I'm going to go with this rope. I actually quite like it. It is just a standard sewing thread. I might, before I go too far, try to find something a little thicker, just because, but I don't want to get halfway into this, getting these dead eyes all tied up, and then realize I don't like that thread. I do, however, like the black thread here, the actual shroud. So I'm going to continue using that. That is this thread right here. It is just it's a wax thread that you can pick up at, I imagine, at any Hobby Lobby. Oddly enough, in the leather craft section. Again, if you're one of those people that orders this stuff online and you know what you're looking for, then keep doing what you're doing. But I'm one of those where, again, I just don't like doing this sort of thing online because I always end up with the wrong product. I like having it in my hand. I like going to a store and picking it up and having it that day and having it in my hand and feeling it and looking at it and making sure that it is what I want. So I think this is where we are. This is what I'm going to do. I am going to look for some slightly thicker thread, but I do like this stuff. I think this is going to work fine. I think that's it. Just a quick video updating on what I've done. Lots of really great progress, and it's really coming along. I think I might actually finish it this year, because it has taken me well over a year to get to this point. I don't have anything in mind for another project once this is done, so I'm gonna do some research and try to find something. But I am very much liking this kit, and we'll when we get to the end, I think we'll do another should you do it, shouldn't you do it sort of a video. But I think that's it for this video. Again, the next video I'm hoping to have made a decision on the type of thread, or the thickness of thread. For now, I'm happy with that, but I think I might go one, maybe a little bit thicker. I'll test it and see where it goes on the next video. So I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.